So, lately I've been watching some video Let's Plays on YouTube of a game called Town of Salem 2. This popped up one day in my social feed, and I was like, oh, let's just check it out, and I thought it was very interesting. And I figured I may want to try it at least once to see what it's all about. I basically watched a lot of YouTube to basically sort of get grounding for this game, by the way, and it is a very in-depth research heavy game, so keep that in mind, because I've not played this game before, and there's a good chance that I'm going to basically bungle it, playing it here, but we'll see. The game is called Town of Salem 2, and it is free to play. It's available on Steam, Epic, the App Store, and on Google Play. And they basically make money with DLC content and pay-to-play features basically in the game itself. From what I basically can see, the game is basically basically free to play if you basically want it to be. So it's not really holding you back from jumping in and trying it out. Recently, reviews for it have been a little bit mixed, but I think that's basically more in line of fact that basically it's been Pride Month recently, and there were some issues basically some woke content that the developers basically just throw in there. So yeah, people didn't like that. Obviously, because this is Town of Salem 2, there's a Town of Salem 1. I think this game is free to play, but you can also basically buy it on Steam if you want, this game. And yeah, you can basically play it in your browser here if you want to, but it should be also available on Steam basically to buy if you want to basically buy it on Steam. Alright, so this game here, Town of Salem 2, the idea of this game is that basically there's an evil evil little town with lots of evil doers basically in it, and the innocent town folk are basically trying to defeat them. One of the factions basically in the game is basically going to be a coven who's basically trying to take out the town. There's also these little lesser evils basically serial killers and everything else just just trying to cry havoc, and so to speak. Anyhow, let's just actually jump into the game because I basically explained enough of it, so you can basically just learn by seeing it in action. And yes, this will be my first time playing it, so hopefully I won't mess up, but we'll see. I'll probably have to do some terms of service and other stuff logging in, but we'll see what it is all about. So initializing network services, 8%, and that loads up. And yeah, basically patch 1.4.11 had private flags and other stuff that really pissed people off, but whatever. We'll just ignore that thing, and hopefully it's an okay game, so to speak. We'll see. Let's just drop this down here a little bit. So there's tutorials. I'm gonna basically put it on because this is my first time playing it. Show night kill cinematics, our stuff. So you can turn this on or off if you want to. Just languages here. Quite a few languages apparently. English is just the first one. So you have a chat filter. So because you can have it on or off, we'll basically just keep it on because why not? Chat font, you can basically have different fonts here. There's two of them, I guess. Chatting is a big part of this game because it's basically a social deduction game where you basically have to chat with other people to basically figure out what they're basically all about. So there's our bindings, a guide. So yeah, as I said, it's basically a very heavy learning game. They have to basically learn how to basically play. If you're new to the game, fear not. We have a new player introduction video and game guide will help you through basically the town. We suggest you try out the classic game mode for your first 2 games. I might go through this at another time in my own pace, but we're here basically just play the game, see what it's all about. So we gotta log in. So yeah, as I say, you have to make yourself an account. So also basically do that here a little bit. You also link to our platforms. This is basically a cross-platform game, I guess. So you can basically play on against people on your phone from the computer and like, you know, other stuff. So, you know, DFuxa. Your friends can play for free, optional. If you have a friend who invites you to play Town of Salem 2, enter their account name below. So basically get referrals and stuff like that, I guess. That was very simple. So, if you're new to the game, fear not, blah, blah. So, you know, like, see, like, that stuff. Let's just go, no thanks for now. Hopefully, I can basically find it again. Now, basically, how this game basically makes money. Basically, like, you know, it's free to play, but you can, like, you know, buy, like, you know, skins and, like, you know, the option basically to, like, play whatever like, characters you basically want to, rather than just being random all the time. That's what the shop here is basically for. So, you know, bundles, characters, other stuff, etc. I don't have any like money to buy stuff, but you know, it's there. If I have friends, they should show up here. Game guide is game guide. I think I watched enough YouTube to sort of like understand how it's basically going to play, so let's go for it. So we'll play. So there's custom, there's ranked, there's town trader, there's all any. We're just going to do all any. This is basically like the primary one. So all any is truly a field of chaos where anything can happen. Essentially in all any, all like the like roles basically are like in play. And you're basically randomized to be like, you know, anything basically here. So we'll join it. So basically the lobby is just going to fill up here. In total it's basically going to be 15 players in this lobby. And they're basically all going to be like randomly selected, or like some are going to be randomly selected. Some people probably like choose like what they want like by paying money, but for the most part, when you basically join it, you're randomly selecting what you're basically going to be. And then like, you know, you just basically try to do what everyone basically else basically is and play the game. So yeah, basically starting at 10, all the houses have been assembled. Now, you don't have to basically, like, you know, type a name here. So, what's this called? Ourselves bread. So, to others, you will appear as John. But secretly, your role is Prosecutor. Alright, so basically, there's, like, different roles in this game. And the whole idea is that, like, you know, you just basically try to figure out what other people basically are, and like get rid of the bad, like, you know, people of the other factions, or like, you know, enemy factions. So basically, like, you see guys saying like, you know, what they are. Some people do that. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to be killed, because that, you know, that's part of this game. I won't be able to do anything the first night because I don't have like any night abilities, but whatever. But basically, like, my idea is like I'm a prosecutor. I can basically prosecute people in a day and basically, like, you know, hang them. And yeah, basically I have like a time limit here where we basically sort of wait and stuff like that. Down here we have like, you know, last will. We're just gonna, like, you know, just leave this blank for now. Alright, so basically how this game works is people are gonna randomly get killed. So Garcelle is basically like, you know, a Shroud, who's basically an enemy, like, you know, neutral. It's an investigator, he's gonna try and go to 5 but get killed before he can do anything. So now we have to basically figure out who's who. So the investigator takes like a job, basically tries to like root out, like, you know, who's who. So this guy got roadblock attack protected. We have poisoner. Jailer asked me to claim RB immune, but I'm TS, so I would be lynched. Someone's a TK, alright. So I have to sort of like just figure out what these people basically are. Apparently we're going up this guy, so we'll do that. So basically, like, how we're gonna do is, like, we basically, like, find out who, like, these people are. So this guy's a town killer. We're just gonna this guy. Basically, it's like innocent or, like, guilty is the idea. So basically, and true, like, guilty or innocent. We're just gonna this guy because, why not? A couple people basically voted guilty for some reason, but whatever. The rest has to vote innocent. Oh, we got ourselves a deputy popping out. So basically, it's like a hit and roll that pops out because he shoots someone. And I decided to basically shoot this guy down here as a necromancer. So this guy who basically had on the stand was the actual, like, guy here. So whatever. So who shot? So that's the necromancer. I have to see, like, who basically claims to shoot here. Now I can't actually see who the other roles basically are, but again, sort of like guess if, like, they basically, like, give some instance of what they are. We'll see what the other people basically think here. I'm sort of just, like, along for the ride, so. Rest of us abstaining, or just put guilty, so whatever. I'm sort of new, so I don't know who basically to vote on, but whatever. So this guy was... So that's the potion master, apparently. Now I said tab power there because it basically, like, tells, like, basically what my rank basically is here. So maybe someone might defend me, maybe not, we'll see. I just wanted to say, like, see the different traps and stuff like that, but let's see here. So you sort of, like, see, like, what these guys basically are doing and stuff like that. So only short filtered and stuff like that. I might die here, we'll see. So no one attack me. Basically, like, at night you'll usually get attacked and stuff like that. So lost a few people there this time. So the poisoner died. And I'll note that basically these purple guys are basically all, like, the Coven faction, basically, like, one of the people who, like, are doing stuff. And you can see, like, some people whispering here and stuff like that. So apparently a deputy died. Now I think the Covenant's mostly dead, so now we're basically just going after, like, you know, neutrals, like the Werewolf here, the Shroud. I know about, like, a lot of advanced players where they put, like, notes here, like, you know, who's basically who. I'm not saying much, I probably should be saying more, but, you know, whatever. So I want to vote up this guy, we'll do that. Not really saying a whole lot here, but whatever. So a couple people basically guilted him here. Now, I don't like the fact he's a prophet there, because it might mean he's, like, you know, someone who actually wants to get hanged, or is a class that actually does that in this game. And he's a jester, so... Now, there's a good chance I might get killed here, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, we got a little bit of time basically at night to sort of like think about stuff here, so... This guy basically claims to be, like, you know, a tracker who basically looks at stuff. He might be a werewolf. Because werewolves can actually track people. This guy's been asking a lot. So he might be, like, suspicious. So W got killed. He was the werewolf. Shot by the veteran. So I know as a veteran who's basically a Neritani in this game. This guy got killed. He's a socialite, killed by a Shroud. So 10 is evil. Guest list, nobody. Now, I kind of wish I was like kill here so we could sort of like passively watch this, but I guess I'll have to actually sort of do something because we're, you know, getting very low on people here. Oh, he lost a Shroud. They were haunted by a Jester, so the Shroud basically killed him. So how do you use your powers here? Well, here I reveal myself. The prosecution's in game. We'll get to see if he's basically hit or not. So we got ourselves a non-town member there. He was a coven leader. So there's basically 4 covens, for those who basically knows what it is. He's claiming Oracle, but whatever. Well, I don't know if he's basically like the guy, but whatever. By the way, free throwing basically means like, you know, you threw the game, but we'll see. Ah, so this guy's Arso. That's nice. If he's Arso, I'm probably going to burn in a moment. Well, this guy was werewolf. So yeah, as I said, he might have been a werewolf. We got him. Well, we basically won. Alright, well, that's basically it for, like, you know, the game. Anyhow, that's basically the idea of, like, you know, Town of Salem 2 here. I didn't really do a whole lot there because basically I'm still new, but the idea is basically, like, you're basically trying to root out, like, the enemy players. As I said, like, I suspected 2 might have been, like, the you know, the werewolf, because, like, he was basically saying, like, tracker, which is something that, like, you know, well, let's put it this way. Maybe I can look at the game guide here and see the rules. So basically there's, like, a bunch of rules in this game, and you have to sort of, like, you know, figure out what the rules basically, like, you know, are. So the one I basically here was the Prosecutor, and basically this, like, one right here, is basically part of the faction for town, and basically it's a sub-alliance town power, which is basically why I said T-POW, to basically, like, say what it was. Our goal is basically to hang every criminal and evildoer, and my special ability is basically to perform a prosecution against a player during the day. And what basically happened there at the end was that basically, like, you know, so we got, like, is town evil? So I was like, you know, town evil? I was like, alright, well, I'll prosecute him. We should eliminate him. And that basically brought us down to the werewolf and the veteran. And I knew there was basically a veteran in there because, like, you know, he was basically, like, you know, killing someone and was still alive. And the other guy, you know, I wasn't sure if he was basically the veteran or not, but, you know, because he said he was a tracker, that gave it as a dead giveaway that he may have been, like, you know, fake. Whereas, like, you know, the veteran probably wouldn't be, like, you know, trying to, like, you know, guess be like a tracker. And I can, like, go down here to sort of, like, just show it off here. Let's just go to werewolf. So, and here's, like, the bad guys down here. So there's, like, the werewolf. This guy's basically part of the faction vampire. Basically, someone is basically vampire. Oh, that's the wrong one right there. So where's werewolf? There's the werewolf. This guy's basically neutral killing. And essentially, this is, like, one of the enemy factions that, like, you know, are sort of, like, going solo. His job is basically to kill everyone in town. And basically, he transforms into a werewolf during the full moon. And basically, during, like, you know, other, like, nights, so basically, track scent, where on your nights as a human, you can permanently learn the scent of your target. Once you memorize your target's scent, you can track who they visit for for the rest of the game. So basically, this guy was basically tracking people, and because he's basically a werewolf, he's basically able to like track them for the rest of the game. So if they're basically like doing whatever, then that's a thing. So attributes, you can see if you're a roadblock on full moon night, you will stay home and rampage at your home, passively attack any visitors. If you're jailed on a full moon night, you will attack the jailer. Victor conditions, you win with other werewolves. So if this guy had like in a werewolf friends, he would have won there, but whatever. Now, sort of like, talk about some of the other people. There's like the Shroud here. It's like another neutral killing. Basically, this guy is very similar, but he basically kills like, people with like, very passive attack. There's also basically a Jester. So this guy basically is like trying to get himself hanged. That's his like whole goal in life. We also have like, let's see here. I think someone said they were a Doomsayer. That's basically like a guessing type of character where it's like, I guess like, for your people's roles is sort of doom them and sort of win that way. There's also like, these other guys who get the Potion Master. There's like a Coven faction. So I'm knowing in this game there's basically like, 3 main factions, and then there's like, the like other guys. The three factions in this game are like, Town, which is basically like, all the people basically from like, up here. So you have like all the Town factions up here. And then you have like these like, guys down here like the Conjurer, who are in the Coven faction, the Coven leader, Dreamweaver, Enchanter, Hexmaster, Illusionist, Jinx, Medusa, Necromancer, Poisoner, Poison Master, Ritualist. There's always at least like, 3 of these like, Coven master, Coven like, characters in the game. And they're basically randomized of like, whatever it can be. Then you can also have like these random killing guys who are basically like, down here, like the Arsonist, who basically is trying to ignite everyone on fire. Baker, Berserker, Soul Collector, and someone else. These guys basically like I guess it's like Apocalypse. They're also another faction in this game. They're like sort of like a third faction, but they're very like very small usually. You usually like rarely see like more than like one of them. Sometimes you see like 2. Sometimes you may see 3. But like it's more like common. You'll see like maybe 1, maybe 2. I'm sort of like doing a bad explanation of like this game here, but the idea is basically like you're part of a faction. You try to like defeat the other factions. Some of like the factions only have like one guy, like the werewolf or like the serial killers and stuff like that. If there's like another like guy who's also a serial killer or something like that, then they'll basically beat him up. But they won't actually know that there are other guys there. With like Apocalypse and Coven leaders, they can actually see themselves like who's basically in their faction or not. Town can't. They're just like completely clueless. I was earning like TP here, so that's a thing. So that's nice. Also got some free game keys. So for next free game, 2 hours for 8 minutes. So basically use like 1 key there, but whatever. All right, well, I think I basically done enough to like show off like the basic gameplay for this game. Maybe play another at some point, but that's basically my introduction to the game, and like I guess I won, so hooray for that. I didn't expect to win, but okay. Maybe I'll play again in the future, but we'll see. For now, take care.